Hey guys, it is Monday afternoon here in the Philippines, and today we finally got our M2 Machines 1955 Chevy Bel-Air hardtop in, and this is your M2 model kit series. So we're actually going to be unboxing this and putting it together in this video. So let's take a look at the box itself first. So as you see, M2 model kits, and you get, it looks like 2 sets of wheels and 2 different sets of tires here. Not sure about the axles. We'll check that out when we get it open. And the interior bucket is there, and I believe the chassis is on the car already. Usually they give you a screwdriver with this, but we'll open it up in a second and take a look and see what they give us. So on this side, it just says model kit, fun for all ages, and has that phrase in different languages. The M2 logo once again, and makes a great gift, the model kit, and once again, in different languages, and M2 logo there. On the back side, it just tells you about the M2 Machines model kit and what it contains and such, and so forth. And then it has licensing for all the manufacturers and sponsors that they use in their products and so forth. On the J-hook area, it just tells you about this being a die-cast body and separate headlights, opening doors, and real chrome bumpers, and so forth. Separate hood, and then let's see, rubber tires. Trying to roll it over and see, and it has it in different languages. That's why I was kind of stumbling here. So it just has everything written in 2 or 3 languages and such. So special M2 feature, and once again in different languages. So it is held together, or held closed, with the M2 round. Actually, this is M2 tape. It usually was round stickers on the little, like, Authentics and Detroit Muscles. So let's cut these and get this box open. And I brought my handy dandy box cutter here and such. So this is not a box that is one that I'm going to try to save. So that's why I didn't really care about trying to peel the stickers instead of cutting them. Usually I would try to peel them, that way I could save them again. So put this to the side, and we'll take a look at this real quick. So this is the lift, and the lift is die-cast metal. If you have not bought these before from M2, they are quite nice. They are made of metal. The only thing is they are not adjustable. They're up, and that's it. And then you have the 2 little like pedestals in the center where you can screw the car down to. Then it also comes with just the collector base that you can put the car on, as this one is screwed down to the base now. And it has the opening hood, opening doors on this model. And it is done in a, I guess, like medium gray metallic, which is pretty nice. And the pink is actually a matte finish, which the contrast looks really good together. And you can see a highly detailed front end and such. And it looks like these body parts line up fairly good. Usually the opening doors sometimes on M2 do not line up so well, but these look okay. The hood looks like it may have a little gap issue, but we'll look at that later. So that is the car and the lift. So let's get the other part out here. And there is your screwdriver and your engine and your axles. And they do give you 2 sets of axles. That's cool. That way, at least I see 3 axles in there. Hopefully there is a 4th. Yeah, there is, I think. But anyways, that is your engine, old school. And then you have an LS style engine there. That's cool. And then you have the plate for the rear of the vehicle for like non-tubbed and tubbed. They usually have that insert they put on the chassis. That's pretty sweet. Then you have your chrome 5-spokes, and then you have a black, like, split 5-spoke wheel, I think. It's kind of hard to tell from the glare of the blister. Then you have your big fat tires for the rear. And then the skinnies for the front, 2 sets. And then you have your interior bucket there. So, pretty nice. I think the dash is mounted in the car already. That's why there's no dash there. Then inside this cardboard sleeve, you have your directions on how to assemble the car and such. So basically they give you everything you need to perform the assembly of the kit, like the screwdriver. There's no glue needed and such. And they give you the screws, they give you different wheels and tires, and as mentioned, they do give you different wheels and different wheels and different axles in case you want to change it up a little bit later on. The only thing that doesn't make sense is why they give you only 1 narrow axle and 3 long axles, because all the rear tires are big ones. That doesn't even make sense why they give you the insert for the rear of the car too. But we'll find out later once we get that far. So we're going to go ahead and take a break and get these parts out, and we will be right back. Alrighty, so we got everything unboxed now. There is some disassembly required before you start your assembly, actually. That is to remove the car itself from the base, which is 2 Phillips head screws, and then to remove the base from the car, which is just 1 Phillips head screw, which is that little guy there, and such. You can even remove the lift from the base if you want to. There are 4 screws, 1 in each corner, that attaches the base, so you can actually remove the base or the lift from the base. And these little ramps, they are functional, but as I said, I'm not sure. I don't think you can adjust this lift at all. I guess you could take it off here and mount it on the bottom part maybe if you wanted to, but that would be probably about it. So that's your options on the lift. And I already put the tires I wanted on my wheels. As you can see here, sometimes these tires can be a real bear to put on the rim. Last Edelbrock 69 Camaro model kit I assembled was really hard to put them on because the rubber was very stiff. These ones are a little bit more cooperative. But what I want to show you here is they do have like yellow letter and red line tires. So be careful you match your tires up correctly. They do have some writing on them or red line on them. I opted for the black wall. I put the yellow letter on backwards, so I have a black wall. That's one of the wide ones, and as you can see here on the narrow one, same deal. You can see the yellow letters. So I reversed them, so I have the black wall. You could do that with the red lines also. As you can see here, well, it's really hard to see in the camera, but there is a red line on this tire. And let me see if I can get it to show up a little better on the front ones. Yeah, it's almost invisible in camera, but there is a red line on one set of these tires. So anyways, the other wheel choice are these. As I said, we couldn't see them very well while they were in the blister, but you can see it's like a split style 5-spoke, which are pretty cool. That's the narrow front one, and then this is the deep dish rear. So not bad looking. And then also with the axles, let me zoom in here and go in that direction. As you can see, they did give us 2 long ones and 2 narrow ones. The directions were misinforming with their picture of 1 narrow and 3 long ones. And also the picture of the kit is very disassembled compared to what we receive. We already have the car pretty much assembled for the body. The dash is in, the hood's on, the doors are on. So it's not so much like that. The seats are also part of the interior bucket. So the kits are not as intense as what they used to be. As you can see, I didn't really go over that with you guys, but it does show you extra steps that you will not need. But at least you can see how the cars go together. Now, another thing that can be an issue sometimes if you don't have pliers, I don't have a pair on hand, I may have to get a pair to do this stage, is putting the axle on the wheel. Because these axles, if I can pick one up here, I'll show you guys. They're not tapered on the tip. They don't have a barbed end or anything like that to make it where it's easy to screw into the back of the wheel. And usually the holes in the back of the wheels are sometimes too small. So it can make it a real problem. So yeah, I think we will have to get a pair of pliers to do this step. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind when getting these or assembling these, that you may need a set of pliers. As you can see, I got it finagled in there a little bit, but really there's no way to grip the axle to push it through. So you're going to need a pair of pliers to work it on there a little bit, especially the back ones I remember being more of an issue than the front. So let's back up here. So the next thing is the engine, which kind of just snaps down in there. We're going to go with the modern LS style engine for that Pro Mod look. And as I said, you kind of just put it in there and then try to line up your holes and snap. Just snaps down in there. As you can see, nothing more to it than that. So engine is in. And then this plate, as I was telling you, this is for the non-pro street look. As you can see how the chassis is cut out for really big meats if you want to run them, which you have to run them on this one because that's your only choice. But you can see there's a screw here, Phillips screw. You just unscrew that. Then this plate on the bottom pops off, and then you would put this plate on and screw it down, and then it closes the gap a little bit. So then it is narrow like the front gap, and then you just run the stock tire. So if you ever see that cut on the chassis of M2 cars, that's the reason why. They've made their chassis universal. Instead of making two different chassis, they just made a different insert for it. But that insert isn't relevant to us because we don't have narrow tires for the back with either option. So, but we have it. And it is metal chassis, metal body, everything's metal and such. So next step would be to install our interior. And the interior is also just going to kind of snap in there. It's not going to really be anything that intense. It just kind of lays in there actually. And then you have your opening doors. You can see the dash is already in there. There's your steering wheel and such. So interior's in and the engine is in. So that is done. The next thing would be to install the wheels and tires. And as I said, we're probably going to need to get a pair of pliers. But as you can see, it just kind of slides through those little eye holes there. And then that is pretty much it. And then the one will, let me put this down there where you guys can see it. And then you kind of just push him on and twist. And voila, there is your, once again, let me tilt this camera down here like this. So, as you can see, he's on there, and it rolls with a slight wobble. That's probably why M2 gets these bent axles all the time, or wobbling wheels, because their axles do not slide into the wheel very friendly, and the machine that is pressing them on is not forgiving, so it just presses them on and goes on down the assembly line. So let's go ahead and try to do the back one. Let's see how that works for us. As you can see, very narrow little back axle here. Well, there goes that one on the floor. Luckily, they give us extras. But yeah, it just does not want to go in there, and my fingers cannot do this. So I will go get a pair of pliers, and then we'll put the back axle on. So bear with me for a moment, guys. I'll get a pair of pliers, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I did not get a pair of pliers. I was actually able to manipulate this wheel on the axle, and once I got one on, I slid it through the little eye hole there and just pressed, and then the other one went on. And these actually slid on fairly good. And let's go ahead and tilt this down, and we'll see how the chassis rolls. And it's actually pretty nice. It has a little wobble, but not much. So I will have to say maybe they improved it, or maybe I just got a dud with my Edelbrock Camaro, and it just did not line up good. The axles, the tires were too hard, and it messed up the lip of the wheel and such. So we're ready to do the final step, and that is put the base back on. So since there's no rear screw, there's a little tab here. Oh, there was the interior bucket, but that's even better yet. As you can see, the little slot there, that tab slides into. So let's drop our interior back down in here. And then go ahead and try to line up that tab going into the base and just push a little bit. And then you can see it binds the chassis a little, but still yet it should. Making sure everything rolls properly and is seated in there properly. The rear tires seem to rub slightly, so let's see what we have going on here. And such. Let me try this. We're going to try to put the interior on the base because there is a nipple on the base for the interior. So let's go ahead and try to line that up. If I wasn't so blind, I could probably see that. There we go. So there it is. So now let's go ahead and then slide the base on like that. Oh yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, freeze that. Nope. Freeze that up a little bit. Sorry guys, got it off camera. So yeah, it's not in such a bind. So then we put our Phillips screw in here. And tighten him up. All right, and there we have it. Our assembled 1955 Chevy Bel-Air two-door hardtop Pro Touring, I guess I would call him. Not too bad. Better than M2 does with their assembly, I guess. The only thing is the hood does not close so well. I guess that's another like thing that I do have against M2 is how their parts close. But I guess it's okay. It's not too bad. It's typical M2. You have to kind of work with it and then it'll close properly eventually. So anyways, yeah, that's the problem with M2. Their quality sometimes is not that great. That's why sometimes I prefer not to even have opening pieces because of that reason. But that's it, guys. That's our 1955 Chevy Bel-Air two-door hardtop. And let's zoom in on this guy. Get one last good look at him. And we will be back next time with the Mini GT Nissan Z Proto. I'll be doing that a little bit later this week, and then we have a couple more mini GT cars in store for you after that. So thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your week, and I will see you toward the end of this week with the Proto. Thank you.